Hello, family members. You're back again. I'm so glad. This is video 3, where we are doing all things together to bridge the learning gap that definitely occurs in those long summer days. That time between the stop of school and the start of school can create a bit of a slide, but we're definitely going to find creative and fun ways that just work into our everyday to keep the learning growing and going. We're going to sneak it on in. And today's video focus is math. And I love this one because it's just so easy. We use math in so many different ways and we're not even aware of it. But if we tune in to the things we're doing every day, we can make the math learning really count. Really count. Hey, that brings me to one of my first activities that I'm thinking about, counting. You know, you can be counting different things. If you have a preschooler, you have an elementary child, you can go on a collection hunt. This is something my grandson loves to do. He loves to go around and collect things and put them in bags. And so something we've been doing at his house during the day is we'll lay out his collection in a row on a table and we'll count. For a preschooler, that one-to-one pull is important. If you have older children and they have a little collection of items, they can add, subtract. They can think about how many, just ball up a bunch of these little craft puff balls, whatever you have at the house, and make an estimate. How many things do you think are there? Let's count and see. And as you're counting, for older children, they can group in groups of 5 or groups of 10, and then count by 10s, count by 5s, which would make counting easier. And also, if you're going to the park or you're outside, let your children collect items. Again, my grandson loves a good collection. And then as they collect these items, you can count them, estimate them, think about putting them in order from smallest item to largest item. Yeah. So have fun with counting. Now, let's think about time, because there's lots of time available in the summer. The way you can talk about time, there's so many components to time. You can think about clocks in your house, digital and analog. You can talk about clock vocabulary, hands, minutes, hours. You can use vocabulary, time vocabulary. When will it be time for supper? When are you going to clean your room? When are we going on vacation? You know, what time are things occurring? You can just talk about that throughout the day. Hey, thinking about vacation, you might want to get a calendar, and that way you can use a paper calendar to count down the days. Maybe each day in a month, you're thinking about Xing off, this day is finished. How many more days until we go back to school? No, we're not going to talk about that one. How many more days until we go to the amusement park? How many days in a week? How many days in the month of June? How is the month of June different from the month of July according to the number of days? Hey, you can talk about the seasons. We just turned a new season from spring to summer. You can talk about how long the seasons are, how many seasons there are, the signs of the seasons, what happens in summer, and with the weather and the length of the days, we get more daylight. Why is that? So you can just expand time to include telling the time. When will we do something? What season is it? Oh, time is just part of our everyday world. Hey, thinking about numbers, How about money? You might want to try using a little bit of cash. I know that's sort of foreign to us, but maybe you can purchase small items with cash. Let your child help you count out coins to purchase an ice cream, or maybe to purchase a small item if they go into the dollar store. You could talk about the different kinds of coins there are and their value. You can talk about what would be the best way, what would be the best coins or currency to purchase something that cost $1.55. Should we use all quarters, all pennies? Should we use paper money and some coins? The different ways that you can use cash. So that way they have an understanding of the value of money. Even if you use a card, it has to be backed up by some type of currency. You can let them use money, collect money if they do chores. So bringing in, today you helped me sweep, or you picked up trash in the yard. I'm going to give you $1. You can put that away in an envelope, and when they collect so much money, they can go to the store or they can put it in the bank. So you can just weave in that dollars and cents time with your children. How about this in the summer? Cooking. Yeah. Math and cooking go hand in hand. If you're making a recipe, you can bring their attention to the words that are used, the instruments that are used. You can talk about organizing and ordering the items as you're cooking. That way they can be aware, I need special tools that have marked increments to measure, because cooking is very precise. So measuring, maybe you need measuring spoons. What's the difference between a tablespoon and a teaspoon? And then, is a fourth of a teaspoon bigger or smaller than a half? And in their minds, they might be thinking a half, because it's 1/2 is smaller than 1/4. Yeah. So use cooking to help you with your everyday math skills. How about eating? Yeah. If you order a pizza, think about those fractional words. A whole pizza, a half a pizza, a fourth of a pizza. How is this pizza sliced so that it can feed 8 people? If there are 8 guests or 8 friends coming and we have a pack of cookies, let them measure out the number of cookies they need for each child. They have a cake that's rectangle shape. What's the best way to cut the cake to feed 2 people, 4 people, 8 people? Yeah, so you can get those fractional skills in a fun and delicious way. Yeah, let them think about, if they have food to serve, how they would serve it and how they would slice it. And maybe they'll get it wrong, but math is making mistakes and fixing those mistakes. So weave in those cooking skills with measurement activities. That sounds really, really fun. And there's just so many different ways to add in the learning. You know, you can do, if you have some no-bake recipes where they're making a sandwich, what are the steps to make the sandwich? And then let them take a case knife or a butter knife and let them take the whole sandwich and think about ways to cut it. What shape is the bread? Square. Why is it square? And then if I slice it in half this way, now what shape are the 2 slices? And then if I do fourths, what shape is each fourth? What shape is a pizza? Circle. Yeah. Let your older children be the chefs and let them take a pizza knife, a pizza cutter, and cut and see if they can get that precise half and then a fourth. Yeah, those are ways to just incorporate math learning into everyday fun. And if you go into the dollar store, I love to pick up fun little toys or little just nonsensical items like this one I got a couple years ago. It was actually fuzzy dice that you would hang in the car, and I cut it for my students. They love to roll these. Let them roll and add. You've got your numbers like this, and you probably can find some dice that have regular numerals on it, and that way that your older children, your elementary kids, could be rolling equations out. They could do 3-digit adding. They could do 2-digit adding. They could subtract, so they roll twice the bigger number, and then the smaller number is subtracted. Your preschool children can roll and count. You can talk about which number is greater, 1 or 6, why, how many more dots are there in the group of 6 compared to 1. Yeah, they can go out and do some sorting. Go back to the collections. They can collect different items and talk about how they're alike and different. They can order them from largest to smallest or smallest to largest. Hey, thinking about that in collections and sorting, don't forget science. As you're out exploring, there's insects, there's birds, there's lots of life. So squeeze in a little math and science. And if you're traveling, you might want to talk about social studies as you visit new places and you're going to new places. You could think about history. You could think about how that area evolved and find out who's leading it, who's the mayor, what's the state capital, what's the state bird, all of those things. As you're traveling, don't forget to include history and science, and of course, squeeze in a little bit of art too. All right, we have really talked about squeezing in lots of learning activities: reading, language, spelling, writing, math, history, science, social study. Hey, maybe you can even explore the planets. Go out, night sky is there. Maybe you have a telescope and you can view some of the stars and planets. That's always interesting too. Hey, learning can keep on growing and you can lead that charge. Be an example. Get out there with your children, play, explore, and get that mind working on ways to keep the learning going, bridge the gap, and you'll find that when your child goes back for a new school year, they'll be right on target. All right, family members, enjoy the summer, have great and fun and safe travels, and explore learning in lots of fun ways. All right, I'll see you real soon as we explore some fun summer stories together. All right, have a good one.